So this guy right here is actually entangled in his cord. So this is what we usually do. So what we have to do is this guy's come out on the wrong side of his cord. So what we have to do is we actually unwind him. So you see that right there?
Yeah.
So people sometimes think I'm crazy, but what happened to you, Dean?
Yeah, we're just discussing this. It's why we went off camera a second ago, and I've actually lost 4 or 5 in the egg this week. And I looked after they actually picked the clutch, and then I was shocked for you just to say that then. So I wanted everyone to be able to see this, that sometimes when they've actually perished in the egg afterwards, when you think they look perfectly healthy, they have actually strangulated themselves. So no, first hand, hats off.
Ta-da! So now, this one should not have a problem. It is actually, the funny part is they tie it in a knot and it rots if you're not careful, and it just does weird stuff. So what I like to do is, I don't usually glance at them all, but I try to look at them, and if something looks a little funny, like this one had the yolk up on the side, and that's usually a clue if you see the yolk up on the side. If you look in this video a little bit earlier, you'll see it when he cut it, there's actually yolk being seen, and that's usually a sign that it's maybe possibly knotted. So that's that problem solved, and we'll keep a little bit of eye on them. I always go back and look after they look like they're crawling out to see how they look. A lot of times I don't do this on video because a lot of people think that we're too rough with them and that we're hurting them, and some people think just cutting holes in them is crazy. But this isn't our first day playing with eggs, and it won't be our last. And we learn every day. So I've learned that actually digging through the eggs once in a while, if the snake looks right, every once in a while you get one that you don't want to put your finger in at all because you cut the clutch, and people ask, when do you cut your clutches? What day? What day do you cut your clutches? Well, we believe in letting the first one cut, and the truth is, you can let them all cut on their own. You might lose a couple babies, but we just don't want to lose a couple babies. So we don't seem to have any problem with cutting them by losing any babies. So we let the first one cut. Some people try to cut them at 72, 74, 76 days. Some people say 80. And the funny part is we've had retics hatch at 76 days, 74 days, but we've also had them hatched at 86 days. So I'm not quite totally sure what causes the difference in the incubation. It's same incubator sometimes, and we get days difference, but you got to remember they're maternally incubating their eggs before they ever lay them. So they get fertilized. Some females go 30 days after a shed, some females go 40 days after a shed. So I'm not quite sure how all that affects it. And even though I like the science of it all, I try to put most of my ideas in the science of getting the eggs in the first place, because it's not as easy as some people think. You just buy a pair of retics, buy one male and 2 females, and you get 100 eggs every year for the rest of your life, and that's a small clutch, and eventually you have 200 eggs from your 2 females. Well, that's just baloney. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of learning, a lot of watching these stupid videos that we're making that we sometimes are completely wrong in, that we're learning on the way. It isn't all black and white. This is live animals. This isn't a video game. This ain't writing code. This is literally working with DNA. That this particular clutch, we don't even understand the DNA yet. We've hatched hundreds and hundreds of eggs in it of this particular breeding. This particular breeding exactly is a little further along, but we still can't figure out why in the world when you breed a tiger het genetic stripe to a genetic stripe, you get one velvet and 150 babies, and why that velvet carries a tiger but you don't get any tigers. And so it's really confusing how it all works. But we do, we know that we get a snake that looks like a tiger genetic stripe. What we thought was it will reproduce a tiger genetic stripe looking thing, but it will not produce a tiger. Somebody else said that they actually have one that they have a genetic stripe that produces tigers, and I haven't seen the babies, but the snakes look completely like normal genetic stripes. So I don't understand how we haven't ran into any of those with all our, we created some of the first tiger het genetic stripes ever in existence, and so I'm kind of confused at why it isn't consistent. But at any extent, we're going to keep plugging away at it, and this is what we're working at. And so we're going to pull this clutch. In the next 3 days, we're going to go ahead and put up a lot of pictures of all these variations from this particular breeding, and maybe you guys can figure out the genetics that I can't quite figure out, and we're still trying to figure out. There's some serious variations in here. Just when you think you know what one is, then you hatch another egg that looks just as much and convincing it's the same thing but completely different. So I know we have velvets in here. I know we have super tigers in here. I know we have super tiger genetic stripes. And the question is, do we have a velvet tiger in here? I don't know. We can't quite figure it out. So at any extent, we'll keep learning together, and check us out on Facebook and you'll see a lot of photos of these guys. Peace out, guys.